Previously, on The Experience, a Making Strides Against Breast Cancer community event manager, Jane, learns that customer experience is formed by customer perceptions that evolve based on every interaction with a company. Positive customer perceptions are formed when customers are successful in their interactions with a company, and the company makes it low effort for the customer. Companies that provide great experiences are also able to form emotional connections with their customers that go beyond simple transactions. This equation, success plus effort plus emotional connection, equals a great overall customer experience. Okay, Jane, now that we've talked about why customer experience is important, let's talk about how we determine the customer experience score at your event. You may have heard the Making Strides Voice of the Customer survey called by many different names: VOC, the Customer Experience Survey, or the Customer Satisfaction Survey. The survey is sent via email on the Tuesday or Wednesday after the event to registered participants who've provided their email address and don't have any email opt-outs on their Siebel record. The survey is designed to capture the key areas of the participant experience. If someone hasn't completed the survey after 2 weeks, a reminder email is sent.
I have a few questions, if that's all right.
Sure.
Who writes the survey questions?
I'm glad you asked. The ACS Market Research Team writes the questions in collaboration with the Making Strides business unit to ensure that they're easy for participants to understand, free of bias, and will give us the information our leaders need to make good strategic decisions at the nationwide level and give you the information you need to make good decisions at the local level.
Okay, so for some of my events, I see a customer experience score displayed. For others, I don't. Why is that?
Another great question. You'll see a customer experience score displayed when your sample size or number of respondents is 10 or greater. You won't see results when the sample size is less than 10, because a sample size that low is not likely to reflect the opinions of your event participants as a whole. If the sample size is between 10 and 29, it is considered more descriptive, but is still too few responses to be considered reliable. 30 to 100 responses is the minimum number needed for a true confidence in the reliability of results. Once the number of responses reaches 100, scores are unlikely to change significantly no matter how many more people take the survey.
So it seems like there are several events that don't show results.
While event-level data may not be available for all events, this does not limit our ability to reliably look at division-level or nationwide data. In fact, we expect smaller events to have a similarly smaller response rate. Keep in mind too that even though an event may only have a few responses, you may receive open-ended comments directly from the participants as well, which can be very helpful.
Okay, if it's normal for a smaller event to have less than 10 responses, then how do I increase my sample size? Can I send out my own survey?
It's totally understandable why you would want to, but there are a few very important reasons why you shouldn't. There are a few legal risks for ACS staff sending out their own surveys. The first is that free tools like SurveyMonkey are not HIPAA compliant, which can put ACS at risk. Additionally, some event participants have opted out of email communication with ACS, which will also suppress them from receiving the survey. If we then send out a different survey, we have violated that suppression request. Again, this puts the organization at risk. Finally, some survey tools are not compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act, which could open us to litigation were we to use those tools.
I understand that our sample size is fine nationally, but what can I do to get better results here at my event?
The Voice of the Customer survey is only one piece of the feedback puzzle. One thing that you or a volunteer can do to increase the amount of feedback you're receiving is to informally engage participants before the event or along the walk route and ask them questions about their experience. For example, you might have one volunteer ask participants solely about their perceptions of survivor activities. Another volunteer might ask questions about online fundraising prior to the event. This way, you're gathering informal, qualitative feedback to supplement the information you're receiving from the survey.
Let me make sure I've got this. The survey will be sent to registered participants with no email suppressions on the Tuesday or Wednesday after the event. I'll see a customer experience score when 10 or more people responded, and won't see any responses for surveys with fewer than 10. The national sample size is good, and I should consider asking volunteers to help gather participant feedback to supplement the survey.
Awesome, Jane. You got it.
Great! I just have one more question. What am I supposed to do with this information? How do I improve customer experience next year? It just seems kind of vague.
Improving the customer experience can seem like a challenge at first. It's easy to think about the things that are out of our control. But before we can begin to improve the experience, we first have to go on a journey to understand it. And just like with any journey, we need a good map before we get started. You are going to create a map of your customer's journey so that you can understand what they see, think, feel, and do before, during, and after your Making Strides event. This will help you better understand where you're already successful and where there may be priority opportunities to improve. We'll get started next time on The Experience.